Retirement crisis for baby boomers. The IMF is concerned about U.S. debt and property foreclosures. Today, I read an article on Yahoo Finance, put out by CBS News, and written by Amy Pishy, titled, "Two-thirds of boomers nearing 65 don't have enough saved for retirement." According to the author, the nation is rapidly approaching peak 65 as younger baby boomers turn 65 this year, initiating the biggest wave of retirements in U.S. history. Yet, most of these Americans are financially unprepared to stop working, and many risk living in poverty. This is according to a study from the ALI Retirement Income Institute, a nonprofit focused on retirement education. Here are my thoughts. I worry about people who are reaching retirement age with little to no money saved. Some may have been forced out of the workforce due to age discrimination or a variety of other reasons. Some may be unable to continue doing their job due to physical limitations, especially for people who have done manual labor all of their life. Social Security alone will not sustain a lot of people during old age. It simply does not provide enough money. The average monthly Social Security benefit for January 2024 is $1,907 per month. There are studio apartments in some cities that cost more than that. If you don't own a home and you need to rent during your retirement years, I wish you the best. I truly worry that it will be a struggle as time goes on. Even though the Fed is supposedly winning the war on inflation, it is still impacting most people in one way or another. I just don't think Social Security is going to be enough to cover rent, utilities, groceries, your cell phone bill, car insurance, car maintenance, fuel, your medications, toiletries, and any unexpected things that you encounter in life. The transition from pensions to 401k plans was great for companies, but terrible for many everyday Americans. Some of you might not know this, but the foundation for the modern 401k originated in 1978 as a provision in the Revenue Act. A guy named Ted Benna is often referred to as the father of the 401k. His interpretation of the provision in the Revenue Act led to the creation of the first 401k savings plan in the very early 1980s. The rest is history. Now the burden for retirement has shifted from the company providing lifetime pensions to the employees who need to fund their own retirement, sometimes with a match from the employer. Well, it's been 44 years since 1980, and we are starting to see how this grand experiment is turning out. Unlike in 1980, when approximately 46% of private sector employees had pension plans, now only about 15% have access to one. While a 401k has worked out well for some people who consistently contributed a meaningful amount of money to a well-diversified portfolio in the past several decades, the same can't be said for people who couldn't afford to ever do so. The same also can't be said for people who had to cash out money from their 401k due to hardships. Now these people are reaching an age where they can no longer work, and many do not have a pension. Many only have Social Security to rely on. To make things worse, this is happening during a period of high inflation. The small cost of living adjustments provided by Social Security may not be enough to compensate for how expensive things are getting in life that you need to sustain yourself with. Now, some of you might say no one nears retirement age with just Social Security to rely on. Well, you'd be wrong. The author of this article said more than 1 in 4 older workers are nearing retirement without a penny in savings. If inflation does not cool, imagine how much more expensive life could get in the next 10 or 20 years. Imagine what life is going to be like for people relying only on Social Security. Not only do people have no savings, many people also have a mountain of debt. It is a lot harder to kick the can down the road with your debt when your income decreases considerably once you are unable to continue working and rely just on Social Security. Making those minimum monthly payments may prove to be impossible. My heart goes out to all of these people who are nearing retirement age with little to no money saved. I truly worry about what we are about to witness before our very eyes. What do you think about all this? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. It's not just some everyday Americans that have a mountain of debt. The United States government has so much, the IMF is concerned. I read an article today on foxbusiness.com written by Megan Henney titled, IMF sounds alarm on ballooning U.S. national debt. Something will have to give. The author of this article referenced a new warning from the International Monetary Fund. The astronomical rise in the U.S. national debt poses significant risks to the global economy and threatens to continue fueling high inflation. Well, what did you think was going to eventually happen with all of this funny money when Nixon abandoned the gold standard in 1971? The U.S. dollar is now backed by faith in the U.S. government. How does that make you feel? What do you think was going to happen when trillions of dollars were flooded into the U.S. economy after the health crisis started in 2020? The author of this article referenced a Washington-based institution called the Fiscal Monitor, who expects the U.S. to record a fiscal deficit of 7.1% in 2025, which is more than triple the level in other advanced economies. The IMF said massive spending in the U.S. risks reigniting inflation and undermining financial stability worldwide by increasing global funding costs. Do any of you remember how the 2008 Great Financial Crisis impacted financial stability worldwide? It was not just a financial crisis here in America. For example, Iceland saw all three of the country's major privately owned commercial banks default. We live in a global economy, and what is transpiring here in America could have ripple effects around the world. What's the solution to all of this debt? How can the U.S. get out of this mess? Try to speculate and tell me your theories in the comment section below. I'd really love to hear them. I have more bad news today. I read an article on foxbusiness.com written by Megan Henney titled, "Commercial Real Estate Foreclosures Jumped 117% in March as Trouble Looms." According to the author, there were 625 commercial real estate foreclosures in March, up 6% from February and 117% from the same time last year. This is according to the real estate data provider Atom. Here are my thoughts. I bet some of these commercial property owners were banking on the Federal Reserve to cut rates aggressively in 2024. The likelihood of that happening now is pretty low. I am sure some people felt their heart sink in their chest after some of the data that was released recently and after Jerome Powell spoke. Just like the U.S. government, who doesn't have a good way out of their debt burden, many commercial property owners have assets that are worth far less than what they owe, and they are stuck in a high interest rate environment, which limits their options. Foreclosure may be the only way out for some. I have to wonder how fast the percentage of commercial foreclosures could accelerate in the future and how this will impact banks. Just like in 2008, when people wondered about bank exposure to junk paper, I am sure there are a lot of people right now who are concerned about that. Only this time, these are commercial properties that are a lot harder to deal with. Many are large, expensive to heat and cool, expensive to insure, expensive to maintain, and there is often a limited buyer pool. I worry about the properties that may fall into disrepair and impact local communities. For example, drive through some areas of Detroit and look at the huge dinosaurs that are still standing but in serious disrepair. These huge buildings are remnants of the golden age of auto manufacturing in the 20th century. Now they are rotting and they look terrible. I read an article in the Detroit Free Press written by John Gallagher and published back on May 28, 2017, that said there were over 900 vacant manufacturing sites in Detroit at that time. If you had a time machine and you could bring Henry Ford or the Fisher Body Brothers to the year 2024, I wonder what they would think about all of the vacant and rotting commercial properties in Detroit and the state of the economy in general. How frustrated would they be to see manufacturing in 2024 and what the infrastructure in Detroit is like? Do you think they would be impressed watching people walk around glued to their $1,000 smartphones watching TikTok videos? Or do you think they would be sad about what is happening in some areas in America in 2024? What do you think is going to happen with all of these commercial properties? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Please keep in mind that everything in this video is for entertainment purposes only, and nothing in this video is financial advice or advice of any kind. If you need advice, seek advice from a qualified professional in good standing who puts your interests first and foremost. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. Please also consider sharing this video with your friends. I want to extend a special thanks to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. I want to also thank all of my channel members. Check out some of the great books that I suggest you consider reading in the description below. I've included Amazon affiliate links to these books. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. Stay healthy and wealthy. I'll see everyone in the next video.